So we now have our 5th of 8 quarterfinalists. Spain goes through. They head to LA Friday. They will meet the winner of our next match today here on Fox, the United States, taking on Belgium. 90+1, the sub, Mikel Merino with his 11th international goal. First on the World Cup stage, the Arsenal man, the game winner for Spain as they advance and move on to the round of 8. Reaction in Madrid. Spain off to the quarterfinals. For the first time since 2010, it's also the only time they ever lifted the World Cup title. So welcome to Seattle. They found us again. Just doing some quick math, we're about 2 hours and 47 minutes away from kickoff here in Seattle. Gorgeous day in the Pacific Northwest. What a beautiful crowd behind us. So glad you're here with us. Rob Stone, U.S. legends, Carly Lloyd, Clint Dempsey, and Alexi Lawless with you. The top 5 showdown between Portugal and your 2010 winner Spain presented the age-old battle between youth and maturity. 41-year-old Ronaldo in his final World Cup facing the next big thing in international soccer, the 18-year-old Spaniard Lamine Yamal. Pick this one up, 8th minute, and what a golden opportunity.
Yeah, strange play. Oyarzabal gets in. Kind of everybody stops playing thinking he's offside, but you look at it, not only is he onside, he's well onside. Maybe even he thought he was offside. Either way, fluffed his lines. Yeah, I understand. I understand.
And when you think about players you'll pay money to go watch play, it's this play right here, Lamine Yamal. Looks how he cuts inside. Good save from Costa. Goes straight to Alex, and what a save by Costa again. He was on fire today, stood on his head, parried the ball away there, and look at this save. Fingertips, keeps his team in the game.
Yeah, this was just a tight first half between these two teams. Mendes getting a shot here off the crossbar, but what an opportunity.
Not much to speak of in the second half until stoppage time. 90+1. Ferran Torres finding Mikel Merino.
Merino coming on as a sub and doing what a sub needs to do, make an impact. Well, no bigger impact than scoring a goal. Yeah, we see you, my friend. Wonderful timing, well on sides. Everybody screams and yells. It doesn't matter when you score, Rob Stone. You just got to score.
2 subs.
Right at the end there. Yes. Here, take another look at it. Wonderful little one-touch play. Yeah, that's onside. Little Meg right there. Puts it near post.
29th goal scored after the 90th minute this World Cup. That doesn't even include the 4 goals scored in extra time. Almost had another one, though, 90+6.
Almost. And Silva, a sub coming off the bench, but his header, he cannot get this one on frame. Portugal's chances, not good.
Final numbers for Ronaldo, 3 shots, 19 touches. It is Spain moving on to the quarterfinals. Friday, they will be in LA to take on the winner of our next game. Ronaldo surrounded by teammates on the walkout.
Doesn't hold back in saying that, and he believes he's the best player ever. Arguably, for a lot of people, he is. So yeah, I think he's had such a career.
OK, just confirmation there that Spain join Morocco, France, Norway and England in the last 8. They will find out their opponents in the early hours of the morning. It will be either the co-hosts USA or Belgium, who will meet in Seattle. On Tuesday, Argentina face Egypt and Colombia face Switzerland in the last 2 of the last 16 fixtures. Do you mind who you meet in the next round?
No, it's going to be a tricky one. Of course, USA, they are the host, and to be fair, I've been very surprised. They have a very good team, and they are playing some good football. So, yeah, let's see. Because Belgium, we thought it was over against Senegal, and they did a great comeback.
Yeah. But the USA home crowd, does that excite you, the prospect of that one?
That would be a great game.
Yeah. I think probably the neutral would quite like to see that.
Definitely. I watched their opening game and it was brilliant. The crowd, the atmosphere, their energy, intensity, and they've done brilliant.
And they can relax knowing that if anything happens, they can always get a red card suspended. I'm only joking. Will be interesting to watch that one tonight. Let's go back, shall we, and have a little look then at some of Spain's better moments, and certainly Mikel Merino gave them the moment to smile about the most tonight.
Yeah, we were speaking a little bit in the hydration break where it was a bit slow, and I think in this action, Merino has this great striker mentality. He scores important goals, and here he plays the free kick very quick. And then as soon as Ferran Torres receives the ball, he sees Merino in the space, and it's such a great finish in front of the goalkeeper. And here we see the Portugal players, they switch off, and then as soon as you play the ball, the movement is very fluid and great composure in front of the keeper. Maybe here Ruben Diaz could go and tight a little bit on Ferran. He arrives late, and as soon as the ball goes through, it's a very good goal.
I thought Torres was excellent when he come onto the pitch, and the changes Spain made the difference. This is pattern to play which Spain want to touch. This is when Spain at the best. They're very difficult to get close to. For the defender, you don't know whether you want to get tight or you want to drop off because you have runners running behind you. And this is a typical Spain goal where you see all the patterns, the movements, all the excitement which they play with, and the fluidity which they play with. There's all evidence in this goal.
Yeah. That's what they were crying out for the whole game. Just
the mentality as well to get the ball, because maybe in the 90th minute you say let's cross it in the box, but the way you want to play quick, you want to create a chance, and Ferran Torres normally he has been playing a striker number 9. He came off on the left wing, and I think I agree with you, Wayne, that he put on a different energy, different pace, and was a great turn. It's not easy to receive half space and then control and a great ball through the space.
And that was in the 91st minute. It seemed to really kind of wake Portugal up to the idea that they were going out of this World Cup, because they had a couple of great chances then, didn't they, in the dying moments?
They did, and they put a few more balls into the box, and you see Bernardo Silva making the box, and he's obviously not the tallest player, but he gets himself in the middle of the goal, and he probably should do a little bit better, if I'm being honest. And we see in a little bit with his former teammate Rodri in there as well, which I think is good because it shows that committed to the country he's trying to do well. And again, right at the end here, Neves' chance was it, and maybe Ronaldo can just throw himself at it. I think maybe if he throws himself at it here, he's offside as well, I think.
Frustration this was at the end of the game, though, that they didn't do this more in the second half.
They waited too long,
you've waited to go down and concede a goal to then have those opportunities and crosses in the box, and I still question that maybe the substitutions from Martinez. And
was he waiting on for extra time coming, do you think, to make those substitutions? Was that what he was looking at?
Time waits for no man, does it?
Philosophy
it was weird that Ramos didn't come on, because the impact he had, we spoke before the game, and just not having minutes.
It's the gamble, isn't it? We've seen Spain make some really good subs, and that really helped them. And that's the gamble you take, whether you try and get to extra time to bring your players on and reorganise your team. And unfortunately for Portugal, it just didn't pay off.
We talk about the perfect time to score, and actually for Spain, if you're going to have a 1-0 in a World Cup knockout game, that's exactly when you want to do it, because, had they scored earlier in the half, Portugal might well have made a little bit more positivity, and those changes might have come.
Well, I was praying it was in, normal time for everyone. They don't have to stay up any longer. But yeah, it felt like they needed that to happen. And the subs made a huge difference, that intensity, that clinical edge. But yeah, for them to score in that time just gives Portugal very limited minutes then to obviously create any opportunities, which they did at the, if that had gone in, obviously that would have been amazing, and we would have been praising Martinez for the substitute he had made, but it didn't work out in the end. And actually for Spain it was a huge advantage for what they did in the subs, making a huge impact, that team togetherness and who he brought on in the right areas at the right time.
What have Spain got to do then, do you think, if they're going to be convincing in the next round, the quarterfinals, and look like a team that can go on and win this tournament?
First of all, they kept another clean sheet. record.
Which is 609 minutes, and 6 successive clean sheets, yeah.
So that gives a lot of confidence. They are a very solid team. Yeah, maybe we didn't see the best outcome of the attacking players. We've seen sometimes Jamal not making the right pass, where we are used to always to make the right decision up front. But I see a team very solid, very compact. They all play together. Again, the subs made the difference, which in this kind of tournaments is very important. So I see a team that is growing, even though maybe tonight we didn't see the other best, but still they got it.
Well, tell me what it'd be like back home in terms of the reaction to that. Because I'm just thinking if England got through with a performance like that, there'd probably be a bit of negativity around it, wouldn't there? And a sense that perhaps this team isn't going to go all the way.
I don't think there will be any negativity comments around the team because, you know, we know that Portugal, they're a very good team, and it was not going to be easy and just win 3-0 like against Austria in the last round, but they compete very well.
And you're the European champions and you've won this more recently.
Yeah, I was going to say they won the Euros.
So we have some confidence. Yeah.
But I think for Spain, they've got such a young team, but they're already winners. So I think that's a big thing. I think it's more for Portugal. I think Portugal will be very disappointed because they've caught Spain not at the best this evening. And I think they've let Spain off the hook. I think Portugal lacked a little bit. Both teams lacked a bit of intensity and a bit of endeavour, I thought, this evening. But Spain have found a way to win the game. So you'd expect Spain as one of the favourites. I still think Spain are one of the favourites to go and win the competition.
And as for Portugal, you've already alluded to the fact that this is an incredibly talented crop of players, and actually some of them will potentially be heading towards, you know, the end of their World Cup life, if you like, and might not make the next one. But this is a team that could still go on and achieve great things in a European Championship in a couple of years' time. What do they need to do with whoever it is that takes over? Well,
for me, it's the start of a new era for them. When you lose a player like Ronaldo, I think maybe some players might have felt in the shadow of Cristiano, which is normal, you know, what he's done in the game. So for some of them players there, now it's their time to go and be the main man for Portugal. Cristiano's been here for so long, and it's a new opportunity for some of the more senior players to take that responsibility, but for younger players to come through. So I think as disappointed as they'll be now with going out of competition, I think this is the start of a new era for them.
OK, in the early hours of this morning and slightly later than planned due to bad weather, England beat Mexico 3-2 at the Azteca to reach the quarterfinals. What a night it was. England, let alone, you know, the history of the Azteca in that stadium, they knew it was going to be hostile. To overcome that, as well as the performance that they had to put in, going down to 10 men, what can that do for this group, do you think, in terms of belief?
Well, it enhances the belief all around. Everybody, yeah, they were questioned. I mean, we were at the Azteca last week, and you could feel the difference going to watch the game, going up the steps to get to the commentary position, never mind playing. So it was a factor more than some people gave it credit for, and I thought the players adapted really, really quickly and really well. A lot of them obviously were tired at the end, but I think that was more down to the playing against the extra man. But they really conducted themselves well mentally and physically, and of course there's going to be some recovery days now where they're going to have to really watch what they do and get themselves right again. But the confidence in the group must be amazing, and our best players are looking great. I mean, Kane just looks like he's playing the best football of his life. Bellingham, always incredible every time he plays. Most tournaments for England he plays to a high level. And the two centre-halves I thought were good, and Dan Burn deserves a credit as well for when he came on. He made some great blocks, and Pickford again, as I say, had his best game in the tournament so far. So the spine of the team looks really good.
Where are you watching it then on Saturday?
Good question. I'm going to be in LA, in a bar, probably in the hotel.
That's all we've got at the moment, bar.
Yeah, but it's a nice bar, so there won't be any what should we say, any trouble. It'll all be nice. No shenanigans. Too old for shenanigans, Gab.
With a visit to a cattery the following morning, no doubt.
Hopefully, yes, that'll be the next morning.
Thank you very much, Danny. Take care.
Thanks, Gab.
We should just update you, of course, with the Jordan Henderson news. Of course, his World Cup is over. He was, of course, involved in an accident, the Brentford midfielder, which meant he required...
I was thinking about this before, when he got picked for the squad, and he's such a powerful voice in the dressing room. I personally would have went with maybe an Adam Morton in the squad to have someone who's a bit more, relevant to play. But he is such an important voice, and Thomas Tuchel believes that he can have a real impact with the squad. So, yeah, it will be a loss from that point of view, certainly, and I hope he gets well soon, because it looked like a nasty injury.
As for the squad, the performance as a whole, Ellen, I think you did that thing. Everybody's asking each other today, aren't they, how you watched it. You got up at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So you watched the end.
I watched the end.
And then the beginning.
Yeah. So I watched the end, watched Wayne in the studio, then re-watched it from the beginning. So I kind of knew already what had happened. But, yeah, I tried to get as much sleep as possible. But, yeah, it was incredible. Just the endeavour, the passion, the desire. It reminded me like old school England, with Terry Butcher, where you're like taping your head, like just those tackles, putting your body on the line, and just like an England team to be proud of. It was just unbelievable.
But see, the Spanish side advance to the next round. Portugal are out. Welcome into the ESPN FC studio. Shaka, Craig and Frank to reflect on what we saw in the round of 16. And this was a tight game, arguably Spain with a better side. Over the 90 minutes, we saw both teams creating chances, but in the end, it is Merino's goal that is the difference between the two sides. Spain advance, Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo go home. We'll talk about Ronaldo and the way Roberto Martinez used him in this game a little later on, but let's focus on the winners first, Craig. Spain with a better side, over 90 minutes.
Obviously no scenes from Lisbon.
No, there'll be a lot of tears, I imagine.
A lot of questions, we'll get to that. Yeah, Spain the better side. Good substitutions in the end from De La Fuentes. Rodri dominating the middle of the park. Portugal had their moments, particularly in the first half. Second half, Spain really wore them down. The two substitutes combined, Ferran Torres and Mikel Merino. Merino scores big goals for Arsenal, big goals for Spain. He's a big-time player in terms of coming off the bench, either with his head or with that left foot, but it was a brilliant ball from Ferran Torres. Yeah. Absolutely. They took a quick free kick and caught Belgium on the hop, and then that little reverse ball round the corner, and then all he has to do, it's a big moment because the game's looking like it's going to go to extra time, and it was a wonderful finish to give the best team in the day the pathway to the quarter-final.
The team with the most quality in the end, Sean.
Yeah, without question. Though at times you were kind of begging for that quality to come to the fore. Lamine Yamal and Nuno Mendes on that, right for Spain, left for Portugal. That was an interesting battle between those two because you know how important Lamine Yamal is. But similarly, Nuno Mendes, an incredible performance. Outside of that, you were just waiting for the big players. You're waiting for some kind of a knockout punch from either of these two. It did come very late on in what was a game that won't go down as a classic.
But this is what Spain have. Those players that you can bring off the bench as well, that can just change the game with one single pass.
Yeah, exactly. When you have a top-level players, and suddenly they can create something that nobody was expecting, and it's what happened with Ferran Torres again, and with Craig. The assist is a pure talent assist, and of course Merino has been absolutely fantastic with Arsenal, scoring goals when they needed it, and today Spain needed him, and he produced. That was absolutely fantastic. Yeah. It wasn't even a game, but you have a little bit more something special coming from the Spaniard team, and I think they deserve to go through.
I know they're growing into this tournament, and I know you've been a bit critical of them.
Yeah, no, but I think now they are definitely up there as one of the heavyweights because of, we mentioned, that quality.
It's a bit of a statement, isn't it?
Yeah, I think most definitely. Also a statement is Cristiano Ronaldo, who was always going to be at the centre of debate, considering the way that Roberto Martinez was going to use him throughout his tournament. We saw late on against Croatia, he didn't come off initially, Ramos came on, but he did come off in the end, and it was Ramos who scored that crucial goal. Ramos didn't play in these 90 minutes. Roberto Martinez made 5 substitutions. None of them took Cristiano Ronaldo off.
If you're Gonzalo Ramos, who's just made a move from PSG to Milan, he's just scored the winner in the round of 32 against Croatia, such an important goal. And you don't even come on the field in a game that's tight because he thinks he's saving you for extra time where he gets that added substitute. But you don't get to extra time because when Merino scores, then the game is dead and buried pretty much, and he doesn't have that substitutions. And in the biggest of moments, and we talked about this for months about the manager of Portugal. Yeah, he took him off in that Croatia game. But this was the biggest of moments against one of the favourites for the tournament, and he's left a player on who did basically little in the game. There was no... Kubasi and Aymeric Laporte, there was no threat. There was no threat from Ronaldo. The threat was going to be maybe the pace of Leao in the wider area, maybe the pace of Neto on the right-hand side. There was no threat of the pace from Cristiano Ronaldo getting in behind. But we knew that. We knew that, so it needed something different. And they'll nail him to a mast back in Portugal about this. They got to. Because it's not about Ronaldo. It's not about him playing the last World Cup. It's not about all that. It's about Portugal and the national team and this multi-talented squad of players they've got. And he made a decision, Roberto Martinez, for the individual, not for the betterment of the team. And they've paid the penalty.
That's what I regret about it. It's not a Ronaldo testimonial. That was not a game to please him. That was a game to go through. It was like today, seeing Neymar coming on. That's like a kind of a tribute. No, that's a national team game, and you want to go through. So it's a regret. Ronaldo had some chances with the half bicycle in the first half, but it wasn't productive enough in the second half, and it would have been, I think, only fair to maybe try something with Gonzalo Ramos to bring something different. And Roberto Martinez didn't take that opportunity, and he will have to pay the price.
At the same time, though, Ronaldo was not the only underperformer in this Portugal team. We came into this World Cup saying that Portugal arguably had the best midfield of any team in the tournament. Yet you'd not seen anything from that incredibly talented midfield. While I agree, Ronaldo could have been sacrificed, in want of a better word, a whole lot sooner, a whole lot more often during the course of this tournament. You being unable to get a tune out of that midfield three, again, that is as damning a criticism on Roberto Martinez as his unwillingness to make big changes. And I'm looking at Ronaldo here.
Yeah, but I mean, we talked about this the other day, Shaq. You're looking at Vitinha, João Neves, and Bruno Fernandes, right? And I talked about this, I think, last week and previous weeks. When they're playing at their club, respectively, Man United and PSG, they have players up front in the front three, particularly through the middle, that they can just bend balls in first time, right? Without looking. We see Bruno Fernandes doing it at Man United. That ball comes into him and he whips it around the corner for Mbemo or Sesko. They don't have that.
Yeah.
You know, they've got at PSG, they've got Dembele, they've got Doué, they've got Kvaratskhelia, they've got Barcola. They can play those balls in. They're almost taking extra touches because Ronaldo's coming short all the time. He can't go in behind, so it completely negates that threat. And Frank will tell you, as a centre-half, if you're not worried about the pace, you can squeeze the game a little bit more.
Exactly, you can play higher because you know that you won't have any problem seeing a ball in behind you, and you won't have to regulate your defensive line as a sweeper that I was to say, okay, we drop a little bit because the guy is running back and he's running behind us, and it's going to be hard for us to deal with that. But if the guy doesn't do it at front, you can go up, squeeze, and you create problems in the middle of the park because you're going to push your middle line to go and pressurize, for example, Vitinha and Neves. So that was an issue. That's true. That's really critical about that. And you couldn't put Ronaldo if you have somebody who does the job, who does on the left side, like Leao maybe or somebody else, who go behind the defense in the space. But neither Felix or Leao or somebody else have done that.
Why didn't he change it?
That's been the question and more to the point, the concern about Roberto Martinez.
I haven't seen the press conference. I imagine say Martinez, he's one of the greatest players. If you need someone to make a difference, he has still got it within him to make that difference. That's why I can't take him off.
I'm not sure the latter is true.
I was being Roberto Martinez.
Well, I agree what you say, and absolutely. Listen, at his peak, the game has not known a better goal scorer than Cristiano Ronaldo. So you understand that. I don't know if he still has it in him.
Martinez clearly thinks he does. So why does he?
But that has always been the concern, that Roberto Martinez is unable to make the big decisions in a way that Fernando Santos did 3.5 years ago. We are now 3.5 years further on, yet we kind of knew coming into this tournament that Roberto Martinez was not going to make that call. He just did not have the nous about it.
Wasn't a difficult call.
Shouldn't have
6 months ago, 3 months ago, 3 weeks ago, 3 days ago, that Portugal are unlikely to win the World Cup with a 41-year-old up front. That's not a controversial statement. Portugal were not going to win the World Cup with a guy in his 40s up front. Roberto Martinez has facilitated this, right? He's allowed it because the qualifiers against the Liechtensteins and the Latvias and the Moldovas and whoever the hell Portugal play, and they rack up 5, 6 and 7 goals against these teams, and they're padding their stats. The big question was going to be, when you get to the World Cup on this stage against the better quality teams, can you in reality be successful with a player in his 40s as good as he has been? And I agree, he has been brilliant. I don't think you get anybody arguing that. But it's a young man's game. It's a game of pace. It's a game of getting in behind. It's a game of stretching teams. And he can't do that anymore. Yes, he'll score goals in Saudi Arabia and that nobody really gives a stuff about, and he'll score them in these qualifiers. But that's not what Portugal want.
Yeah, but the problem
they want it on the big stage in the field.
The question is, who's responsible for that? I don't think we should blame Cristiano Ronaldo. He didn't ask for anything. I mean, it doesn't seem that last time when he went out, he was frustrated. But like any striker in the world,
this is all Martinez's fault.
Yeah. Do make your own choices. You know, decide for that, and the player will have to accept that. And I'm pretty sure that Cristiano Ronaldo will have accepted that. You don't score, you're not influence enough the game, so you get out. But he didn't do it, and because maybe he was scared of him. But I don't think Cristiano Ronaldo is responsible for that.
When he goes into the press conference, Roberto Martinez, I'm almost sure the Portuguese press have to be saying, why did you leave the goal scorer from the Croatia game on the bench scratching his backside? Yeah. Why did you do that? What's the reason? Why didn't you try and win the game? Were you playing for extra time? What, they'll be asking those questions.
Yeah, but he's going to say, like he always said, I believe that Cristiano Ronaldo will score a goal. Yeah. And it's what he said last time.
So explain to me this. Is it all... Does Martinez take all the blame for playing Ronaldo? Bruno Fernandes was anonymous.
Ronaldo's not...
So we're picking on Ronaldo and Martinez.
No, I'm not picking on Ronaldo. I'm picking on Martinez.
But others still have to step up, don't they? Absolutely. I understand what you're saying. They haven't got a target, but still there was nothing from the Premier League Player of the Year. Vitinha, the best player in midfield in the world in that position. Is it all a knock-on effect?
Maybe because there's certain cogs in the wheel that don't make themselves attractive to those players playing better. And I don't know, maybe that's just an excuse. And I'm not blaming Ronaldo. Listen, the desire of that guy to turn out for his country is incredible. I mean, there's a couple of 100 caps. I'm blaming the manager. And I'm blaming the manager for not getting the best out of the other players. They also lost Nuno Mendes to injury, which is, we all well know, is arguably the best left-back in world football at the moment. But this is a huge disappointment for a supremely talented Belgium side. But this is a discussion I almost knew we were going to have. We almost knew we were going to have this discussion about the talent not quite performing and about the manager not making a big decision on Portugal's arguably greatest ever star player. In a major tournament, we knew we were going to have this discussion all during the year.
Going back to what you said about Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes can be good if he has different options and different choices, and he didn't have that. If you have only one choice, is to give the ball to everybody at front in their feet. You have only one choice. It's what it didn't happen this season. It was good. Somebody was asking the ball in his feet, the other one was going in the space. So he give you two options, and when you have the talent of Bruno Fernandes, you pick the best one. That's what makes the difference. And and the same, and you were eluding it before. For Neves and for Vitinha, it's the same. When you have Dembele, Barcola, Kvaratskhelia and Doué, you have different choices. And because of your talent, you can pick the best one. That's what makes you different from the others. But if you have only one option, one choice, from the three at front, it's a problem.
Let's be honest. Rafael Leao, he's a waste of time as well, isn't he? He's a waste of time. The talent he's got and the pace he's got to be on the fringes of Milan games, on the fringes of Portugal games, and spending a lot of time actually on the bench with his talent, his pace, and his power. It tells you all you need to know about his mentality.
A moment ago, Craig is talking about this game, and in a Freudian slip says the supremely talented Belgium side. This is exactly the conversation.
That's what I said.
Yeah. But this is the exact same conversation we are having about Roberto Martinez with a supremely talented Belgium side.
Scored in 3 successive games in the World Cup. As Belgium move on to the quarterfinals, the United States are out and basically got exactly what they got in Qatar, out at the round of 16 against a big European team. This was earlier on today. It wasn't the best game, Stevie, was it?
Boring game of football. Spain were, I would say, very average, but they got the job done. Portugal will be kicking themselves because there was an opportunity there to go and attack it, and both these sides played very cautious. Looked like we were going to extra time. I would have probably put a bet on penalty kicks, but there was a moment of quality in the game, Kev, and it was really excellent goal from Merino.
I still can't believe you're going down the line of it being boring.
Because it was boring.
This is high-level knockout World Cup football. This is what it's about, Steve.
It's because it's your team. You would be saying the same thing.
It's nothing to do with it being my team. This is like high-level stuff, and top-class players with high IQs that are playing. I think it's disrespectful to say it's quite boring, Stevie, to be honest with you. But I think you mentioned the moment of quality, and it was, it was a substitutions, wasn't it, who came on, who changed the game.
Great goal.
Brilliantly worked goal. Watch Merino when he moves the ball, Mikel Merino, and it's that little through ball. And once he gets through, he has a little look up to see where the goalkeeper is and just places it past him. It was a beautiful finish.
As soon as he sees Torres' half turn there, that's when he makes his little run, hoping that the ball gets played through. And once it falls on his feet, there's only one thing on his mind, and just let me put this ball in the back of the net, and he does that so well.
Well, we'll see what happens with Merino, because it was the same at the Euros, wasn't it? He sort of came into the side, and he is a key player because he's brilliant at time and runs into the box like his goal there, whether it's on the head or on the foot. He's so effective, and Portugal had a little flurry at the end, but never really looked like scoring, and they go home. I think pretty disappointing overall, their tournament as well, in terms of their superstars playing nowhere near the levels, Kev.
And I just think we talked about the substitutes there, though, with Spain, like Fabian Ruiz coming on, Mikel Merino, top-class subs, deep bench,
And Cristiano Ronaldo's World Cup career comes to an end.
He is an example, a role model to follow. He's someone that we need to celebrate. This is not something that we need to look even more beyond this. We're talking about a football icon. There aren't too many Cristiano Ronaldos out there. I think that what we need to do is to thank him for what he tried to do at this World Cup. His dream was to win the World Cup. He is a prime example of football and the athlete and the human being that is behind that athlete.
And this is what Cristiano Ronaldo said after the match. I've won 3 titles for Portugal. Before Cristiano, Portugal did not win a single title in history. The best title I've won, the Euros in 2016. And he said this before, but he said again today, honestly, for me, Euro 2016 is worth like winning a World Cup. Again, I leave with a clear conscience, giving my best to Portugal. Tomorrow will be a new day, and then life will go on. So Portugal are headed home, and Spain and Belgium are headed to LA. The quarter-final, Friday, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on TSN, CTV and Crave. The Euros isn't a World Cup, is it?
No, it never will be.
No.
It's great. It's a fantastic trophy to win, but it's not a World Cup, and that was a quite ridiculous statement there. Anyone that talks about themselves in the third person needs to be checked.
I know.
Can never see you doing that, mate.
No.
Try not to.
But Cristiano Ronaldo leaves the world stage today, having accomplished a lot, but never really quite being able to make that same impact that we've seen other players make in terms of lifting their side to a World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, we've debated many times whether he's a hindrance to this team, and I think we'd probably all agree that he is in some ways. He's been a magnificent player. Everyone recognises how much he's given football and how sensational he's been, but he's past it. He's absolutely past it, guys. He shouldn't have played in this tournament, really. It should have been somebody else's place. And I know he scored goals, and I know he had these moments where you see flashes of that brilliance, but overall, Kev, his legs just can't do what his brain wants them to anymore, and it happens to all of us. It even happens to some of the greatest of all time, and he's on that list.
Oh, he is absolutely one of the greatest of all time, and we all recognise I played against him an awful lot during his Man United days, even at international level when he first came into the international setup. Absolutely phenomenal footballer, but as you say, I think as though he is past it. I think he has been a hindrance to this side, and that's not just in this World Cup. I go back to the last Euros and even in Qatar. The team struggled, and they have been struggling with Cristiano Ronaldo in that side. They've not been able to really produce big performances. The best performance in Qatar was when Ronaldo didn't play in the game against Switzerland in the knockout round of 16, or the last 16. So it has been that way with him. He hasn't been able to really lift his nation in the last few tournaments. 2016, I was at Euro 2016, and he was brilliant. He was outstanding, and he led the team when he got subbed off injured. But ultimately, the World Cup was the one that he has tried to win it, and it's just fell short. But many have fallen short. That's the thing. So unfortunate for him, Teebs, absolutely, and he has been a legend. But I think it's just maybe one tournament too far for him.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Kev. I absolutely think he's a top goal scorer. I mean, he's done so much for Portugal over the years, but I think the team would have a better chance if he maybe didn't play as much minutes. Maybe if he's coming off the bench and you give him 10, 15 minutes and you go with Ramos, who looked hungry. We seen him in that last game as soon as he came on, and he was just fighting and looking for that goal. But yeah, what are you going to do when it's Ronaldo and he's done so much? It puts the coach in a really difficult situation.
And now we'll see what happens next with Portugal, because Roberto Martinez, as we expected before, confirmed after this that he is leaving the role. So Portugal looking for a new head coach.